Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you remember, I broke my WRX a little bit ago. I didn't really break it. I was driving it to work, check engine light came on, and it was for a lean fuel condition. I checked and I found that my turbo inlet was cracked. So today I'm fixing that. I have a TDMI Imports billet turbo inlet to install today. I just clocked out for lunch, so I got a 30-minute timer. I'm gonna pull this thing in and get started. All right guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the plastic splash guard off. Look at all these freaking holes underneath my bumper from testing out different front lips. Wow, okay. So a couple things need to happen here. I am going to have to take my intake hose off, and obviously the two 10mm bolts holding it to the turbo housing. I'm gonna have to disconnect all the hoses, disconnect the bypass valve. So it's gonna take a minute here, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Actually, I don't even need to disconnect the bypass valve because it's separated there. Just gonna unplug the boost control solenoid, unplug this connector, move that out of the way. And disconnect this top vac hose. Now the boost control solenoid, I didn't want to disconnect anything, so I'm actually going to leave that hang on here, and then I'll put it on the new one as I get it back in the car. I'm going to go ahead and pull the broken piece off the bypass valve. Okay. Alright, so between these two pieces, all I really need to do is I'm going to have to take the seal out, which should be, yeah, really simple. I'm going to set that seal back into the new one. And that's good. This thing's ready to go in the car. This thing did come with a new hose for the bypass valve, so I'm going to go ahead and install that and install the hose clamp on that now. And then when I get it in the car, I can install the other one. Something I couldn't find a lot of information on when I was looking into it is these aftermarket inlets have this right here, and this factory connector will not go over it. So you actually can delete this, and what you have to do is just take your pliers, pinch that together, pull this off, and then we're going to pull this connector out. So spin that around so I can see. Pull this connector out. Now inside this connector, little metal clip is going to be removed, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in there with pliers and pull it out. Once you pull it out, so you insert it into the connector there, and once you do that, you can electrical tape it, do whatever, zip tie it up out of the way, and then this hose will be free to go down onto your new turbo inlet. It's just being really stubborn. And of course all this spins, so I can't like do the old twist method where you like spin it around in the hose to break it loose. I don't think I'm gonna get this out by force. That's in there really good. And gonna pinch there and spin it inside the, yeah. That's the ticket. This connector, gonna take and pull that pin out of there. That was actually really easy. That came out really easy. So now I'm gonna take the pin and insert it. Okay, now I actually have some like liquid electrical tape, and I'm gonna put that in there. So for stuff like this, any kind of connection, like any kind of connector that's loose, I always try and use this stuff because it keeps it weather sealed, so that if down the road, you know, you're you're not getting anything. Oh, that dripped on me. It's kind of messy, but, and believe it or not, if you ever need to, this stuff isn't that hard to remove. Alright, so I'm putting the hose clamp on this new hose here. I'm gonna insert this into the intake. And then get this up onto the bypass valve. I forgot to connect the freaking boost control solenoid anyway, so we'll just reverse here for a second. Okay guys, the install's finally done. I finally got that hose down just far enough to get that clamp on it. It's on there so freaking tight. I don't think it's going anywhere. If it does, I'll readdress it later because I'm sure it'll cause an immediate issue, but I think it's good. The connector is all sealed up and up here zip tied down, and everything should be ready to go. So we should be able to put everything back together and fire up the car. Alright guys, so I got the turbo inlet installed. I'm getting ready to leave work. I'm going to drive around for a little bit, let the car get up to temp, and I'm actually going to send my tuner a log and then a third gear pull, and he's just going to kind of go over it, make sure nothing changed, and see if it needs any revisions or not. I use Phatbotti tuning for everything. Ron Watson at Phatbotti, he's a great guy, and he's very honest, and his prices really aren't that bad. He retuned my car for the STI transmission for freaking 25 bucks. So, you know, he's a really reasonable guy, and so I have no reason to believe whatever he says isn't going to be the full truth. Curious if I picked up any more noise, see if it changed the noise at all, because I got a lot more turbo flutter after I did the Grimmspeed front mount intercooler. I don't know if it's something just with the metal piping and less bends, or I don't know, but nothing changed besides the intercooler piping, and I got so much more noise and so much more flutter, so interested to see what this billet thing does. Alright guys, so it's been a little over a week since the install of the turbo inlet. I wanted to make sure I could have it on the car, drive it for a little bit, have the tune finished and everything before I give you guys my honest feedback on it. Basically what happened was I installed it, I sent a data log and a third gear pull to my tuner Ron, and he was like, okay, cool, sent me another map, and he was like, load this up and repeat the process. And we did that 6 times. So we had 6 revisions before it was tuned, which I didn't expect. And thankfully, Ron didn't charge me for the retune, so that was cool. But it did take 6 revisions. Now, a couple things I will say changed outside of the tune. So since my last tune, a few things have happened. Number 1, I installed the Grimmspeed front mount intercooler. Most people will argue you don't really need a tune for the intercooler. It's just, you're not going to see any effect from it. You're not going to get any gain benefit. Maybe Ron saw, oh, we have more room to grow. The intercooler's not heating up as much, so we pushed the limits a little bit more. But that could contribute. And then also my location changed. So I went from Pennsylvania to Florida, where I'm a little bit closer to sea level, so that air is a little bit denser. You know, I'm not entirely sure, but I am in a warmer climate now and everything. So I don't know exactly what all changed. But obviously the front mount, my location, and the inlet. So something I didn't expect to actually be able to tell you guys, it does feel faster, and I don't have any hard evidence that it's faster, but I've driven this car long enough to know what it feels like, and it feels a little bit faster. And I don't mean like a lot faster, it's just a little edgier. I feel like lower end, it just kicks in a little bit faster. I mean, you guys already know these cars are like instant torque monsters. They spool so quick. I don't know, it just feels like it's got a little bit extra pep in its step in the low end. I wish I knew for sure. I may ask Ron to do a virtual dyno so I can kind of see the comparison of what changed, but again, I can't directly, even if I gain 20 horsepower, I can't directly point that at the turbo inlet because I did the front mount, the turbo inlet, and a location change. 3 big things. Number 1, it fixed the stock inlet, and I never have to worry about this thing breaking, whereas if I would have replaced it with another stock one, I would have had to worry about it, and I didn't have to pay for the retune, so that was perfect. Number 2, the sound is amazing. It sounds so much better. My opinion, you know, some people might not like it, but I think it sounds really good. If you don't have the Boomba bypass valve and you're still on a stock bypass valve, or maybe you have an HKS or something, it's still going to give you a little bit more sound, a little bit more what's that word? It echoes more. Third and finally, it definitely feels a little bit edgier. It feels a little bit faster. Again, I don't know how much, but it definitely made an improvement. So for those 3 things, I think it's worth it. I don't know. It was an expensive mod, but I didn't want to wait around with a broken turbo inlet for the Grimmspeed one to come out. Now, I could have sucked up dirt or debris or whatever through that crack in the inlet. I mean, there was that much space in between my bypass valve and the inlet where it cracked. I'm glad that I got it over with. I'm glad that it's fixed. And the billet one is really cool. Appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll see if I can answer them for you. I would highly recommend replacing your inlet. So with the new Grimmspeed one or with this one or whatever, Grimmspeed's back ordered as of making this video, but I think they're getting ready to ship a bunch more out. So worth it. So freaking worth it. That stock one is just junk. But anyways, guys, I won't take up any more of your time. I appreciate you checking out the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.